Hello, World Wide Web. I'm Shado, the internet personality with the best hair. And it's a long time coming, but I finally got another reaction review. Not exactly sure what I'm going to call this, because this time it's not of a theatrical release or even a really new movie. It came out this year, February 21st, on DVD and Blu-ray, I'm certain. But this was a full moon movie, and it's today, on Friday the something. I am not keeping track of numbers. But today it is now on fullmoonstreaming.com, which is pretty cool if you don't want to actually have to get up or go and do anything besides just go to a website, click watch. There you go. There's that option. And while I'm at it, I may as well say what the movie is. PMS Cop. Yes, that's really the name. That is a movie that was made, and I'm pretty sure by Full Moon, on the thing is saying Wizard Studios, which I know Full Moon has all sorts of different little sub-studios, kind of like the Asylum has the sub-studios and what have you. The thing is, like I said in my write-up for the last review I have done, when it comes to low budget, the Asylum tries to get away with making a movie on as little money as possible and fooling as many people as they can into buying it, thinking that it's actually related to some bigger budget thing popular at the time. And Full Moon, they make things that otherwise would not be made because no one would be willing to risk that much money on it. And indeed, how much money do you think people will be willing to risk on PMS Cop? After watching, I looked that little bit up, and I wasn't too surprised with what I found, except for the fact that it actually had quite a sizable cast, all things considered, for a super low-budget film. But the budget was still super low budget, about $30,000 estimated, according to IMDb. Yeah, really cheap. And if you want to know how it looks, how it works in that way, it's kind of in between your average Asylum production and Haunted from Within. So yeah, it's actually visually lower quality than your average Asylum production, which is a shame because for $30,000, I'd think you could actually beat the Asylum, but then again, they had a lot of expenses in this movie. They had a lot of actors. The acting wasn't so great. I mean, I'm going to try and give a little spoiler-free-ish for the first part of this, and later I'm just going to go into spoilers and what have you. Like my normal reaction review things, whatever I'm going to be calling these now because it's not theatrical this time. But, you know, just to give everyone a refresher, since it's been a damn long time since the last time I've done one of these. In fact, over a year. So, a refresher might be necessary. But yeah, the acting overall is really meh. And the audio of the movie doesn't help it, because there is a extremely sparse soundtrack. I was actually surprised that they included music in the credits. I was surprised at that point because there was so much of the movie that didn't have music or even really Foley work, and when the acting isn't so great and there's a lot of scenes of dialogue back and forth and there is no musical tones to work off of there, it gets really boring. And that's really the crime for this movie. A movie about a super strong female cop fueled by PMS power. You'd think that would be exciting, but actually, for the first 20 minutes, it's really kind of dull. And it's, you know, part comedy, but the comedy aspects don't really work out so much, in my opinion. Nothing really great. The opening, well, I guess I should cover that in the spoilers part, but yeah, the comedy it's nothing horrendously bad, but it's not really great. It's just there, and that's really the big crime in this film is so much, you're waiting for something to happen. The things that happen are good when they finally do. When the big event happens and the titular character, PMS Cop, is created for all intent and purposes, I found out that there was something that was very impressive in this movie, and that is the gore effects. And not every kill has them, which is unfortunate because they did some really good gore effects right off the bat. And then later there's some broken necks and strangling. And I'm like, oh, come on. Can I get something to rip an arm off? Okay, that's better. But yeah, they spoiled me with the gore effects. Blood splatter, not so much. A lot of the blood splatter, some of the blood splatter was good, but there was a lot of it that was CGI blood splatter, and that looked about as good as Asylum CGI blood splatter, aka not very good at all. But again, take what you can get. For $30,000, I commend them for putting the movie together as well as they did. But overall, the whole experience is it. You really had to have patience with this movie to get real enjoyment out of it, because even after things really pick up in Act 2, very quickly they are slowed back down. And then you have long dialogue scenes, and there's no music in those dialogue scenes, and then you have this, that, and then suddenly Act 3 really pops up and starts getting exciting again, and then suddenly, while that's still going on, and you want to be watching that, they switch back to long, drawn-out dialogue scenes with no music to keep you invested or make you feel like this has any kind of emotional weight beyond just the cartoony, very predictable plot lines, at least if you've seen hundreds of action movies like I have. This is technically not action. It's considered horror comedy, even though, guns and killing, not action. Horror. And seeing how it went, yeah, I do agree, it's more horror than action. And in that sense, PMS Cop herself, the title character, as it were, she is the monster of the horror movie. She is the unstoppable force slowly going around and taking lives as she goes. And at first it kind of makes sense, and then yeah, you understand she's pretty much lost her mind, but at the same time, you want her to have some kind of reason for doing what she does, and there really isn't that much. And it has its fun parts. I still say that this is a better world for the fact that the movie does exist. A world without PMS Cop would be missing something. But, on the other hand, the movie really could have used a lot of work, and just $5,000 more dollars on the budget would have boosted a lot if they could have afforded just a larger soundtrack. And keep the bad actors, keep the same script with meh comedy, and keep the balance between stuff going on and people talking about stuff the same as it was already, and just give it music, and it would have been a lot more enjoyable. But it's an interesting, it's obviously a four guys movie. The movie opens up to, bare-chested titties, and yeah, it's kind of actually full frontal female nudity. It wasn't just the but that's the opening of the movie right there, and it's obviously directed for the male audience, and for that it's kind of hard to explain why there wasn't more visceral things going on. The kills we got were entertaining, but there was just so much. You wanted to watch her go around and kill and be unstoppable and everything, but that was really underplayed. I mean, the effects that we got when it was going on, like I said, they looked good. I'm sure if we got more of that, then the effects would have had to have been downgraded, but I really wanted to watch more of that. Maybe there'll be a sequel. Who knows? But overall, for a basic rating and recommendations, I would say that this movie is about a 2 out of 5. It's got some good entertaining qualities, but it is really, really down there. It was closer to 1 than to 3, to be honest. But it's obviously a movie for guys, yeah, big man, watch a movie. And it's, there's so much that would actually be slowing the movie down in the way it's put together. I would suggest watching it with a group of guys so that when shit's not happening on camera, you might be able to discuss what has happened among your friends and ignore the nothing happening on the TV while that's going on. Maybe get drunk and just wonder when the next tight t-shirt woman walks by and saying, waiting for that, waiting for that, waiting for that. That's my suggestions. Guys with alcohol and a willingness to enjoy a considerably low quality flick, you'll want to check this one out. Because where else are you going to see a movie about a woman with super PMS capabilities? And the closest we got was Super Princess Peach, where she uses amazing emotional power to save the Mushroom Kingdom and rescue Mario. That's a funny comparison. So, I guess that covers the non-spoiler overview, and now we can dive right into the spoiler pit. So, PMS Cop. It just, the opening is a rape. Now that sounds horrible, and so they kind of play it with the comedy, which sounds even worse, but the comedy aspect is so weird. It just... The rapist is a clown. We never really see them doing anything. They are found out, minutes after they start. And the rape victim is like, he went that way, as she's got the balloon animal handcuffs and stuff on her. That's what he was doing to her in the room. It's like, oh, that's silly. The fuck is going on? And unfortunately, most of the comedy in the movie isn't even that good. That was a high point for the comedy. So, yeah, it doesn't have... With comedy, it really helps to have the delivery to really drive it home. I mean, you could have a joke, but you have to present it well and deliver it, and the acting really holds that back in a strong way, because none of the actors are really great. They get to... It's... Right, this is the spoiler part, not the talk about how bad the acting is part. But after the title character, who is not PMS Cop yet, she's just a cop who's suffering from PMS, which is totally different. She is on the case, and she chases down the rapist and beats him within an inch of his life with a nightstick, and is caught on helicopter camera, and that gets on the news, and everyone is upset that she beat the shit out of a clown. So, yeah. It's making light on rape and police brutality in the same scene, so woohoo. But then for a while the thing is, she gets a psychological evaluation, which we watch with no music. It's really slow, and the guy's writing stuff down and asking questions, and I'll give it to the actress. She's trying to do something with being emotionally and what have you, but the guy doing the evaluation just sitting there, kind of sapped everything out of it. And like I said, lack of music, that's all you have to go off of in that scene. And eventually she gets put on a drug for PMS. Like, she's kind of forced into it. And this drug is not even an official one yet. It's actually a drug trial, which is not something you would do, because you have to volunteer for drug trials. You cannot be forced into one. It's, just a little pet peeve there. But this one is this strange little new experimental drug made from the toxins of the most dangerous and venomous creatures on the planet. Safest thing you could possibly do. And obviously nothing will go wrong with that, but it's supposed to pop one a day and you are PMS free. No anger. No destroying and stomping on puppies because you didn't get your latte exactly on time. None of that. it's all happy, and she's happier, and she's with her partner, and the partner's happy, and they're like, yay, and he's killed, and then she snaps, and then just immediately now she's PMS Cop. Because, hey, the drugs had this thing, they kind of fucked with her. And they actually give her superhuman strength, and then she's killing people left and right. I guess that's what it's supposed to be, but she only actually gets to kill 2. She kills the guy who killed her partner, and then she rips another guy's jaw off, which looks fucking amazing. It was that was one I wasn't exactly prepared for. And it was after another long scene of talk, 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 no music, no music. And then they took the talking away and they just had the mouth movement and no music and nothing and a silence. And I was like, well, I guess that's effective, but it came from no music anyway, so... And it looked good. And I was like, holy shit! Yep. But then she gets captured by the people who made the drug, because they also put a chip in her. They explained that earlier, but then later on they make that chip do all sorts of other shit, and then they say, oh, it was designed, way before any of this technology could have possibly been in that chip. But hey, it was military, so that counts. And of course there was military technology. Of course, why wouldn't it be military technology? It's always military technology in this kind of shit. And also then, the people in charge of the drug and the chip, they are more interested in the potential to sell this new super crazy PMS woman to the military. And then, of course, she escapes her bonds and then starts killing everyone, and everyone's talking about this back and forth. The whole second half of the movie is really watching everyone talk about selling it to the military, these new features that get unlocked and everything from the chip, and just talking back and forth about the potential to make money. We're dropping in new features that we should have really brought up sooner. And in between all of that, we finally get to see her kill some people. Some good, some bad. But the balance is really off, in my opinion. I know you don't necessarily need the monster, as it were, of your horror movie on screen all the time in order to effectively work, but even just people afraid that she was going to be around the corner was extremely limited. They only really showed up, there was only a couple of exceptions, but mostly they only came up when she really was around the corner and about to kill them. Otherwise, it was just not important to show. It's much better to talk about the military applications of this, and there's the intern girl, and she's unhappy with this, and this is talking about for them. Of course, the woman responsible for designing the chip was Russian, because, after all, Russians. And she had the really overplayed Russian accent, and the climax was really kind of... the third act and into the climax, it was better than what you had to wait through for the beginning of the movie, but you're always wanting the PMS Cop on screen killing somebody, because that's something the movie does well, and there's so much honestly bad movie you have to wait through to get to the snippets of good. It's some nuggets of entertainment in there. And it's really... And there's not too much else to really talk about with the plot, because I kind of already said everything. Aside from saying exactly who dies in what order, and really, who cares, because most of them are just kind of faceless anyway. Then on IMDb, or was it IMDb? No, it was in the credits when I was watching it in the credits. There was a whole list of people who were noted as Security Guard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That was their name, Security Guard 1 through 10. And, yeah, that's as important as these people are who are dying. A few more are important, but not really much. And the things that they bring up and like I said, at the end, it's kind of hard to really get behind anything or invested when the main character slash monster of the movie isn't necessarily working off of reason for anything she's doing. So, I mean, yeah, she killed the bad guys, but at the same time, she was gonna kill them anyway just because. So it's nothing like, yay, she got him. It was like, well, she just fucking murdered everyone in the building, so that was gonna happen sooner or later. But like I said, maybe they could make a sequel, which would be nice, simply because she was not the only one on this drug, and it would be interesting to see the apocalypse of PMS from Full Moon at some point. I'd think so. I'd want them to do it with a considerably larger budget, mainly so we can watch a lot of gore and everything, and get the same guy that did the gore effects on this movie, because they were pretty damn good. But fire the guy that did the CGI. Well, maybe not fire, just don't hire him this time. Get someone to do, real blood effects. I know they're harder, but they look a fuck ton better. I mean real blood as in, stage blood, not actually make the actors bleed. I think they'd be a little against that. But, cats, always ruining my takes. That's why it takes me so long to record reviews. Are you quite done scratching at the door yet? Guess not. So, yeah, still, I'd call it a 2 out of 5. Pretty low 2, but still entertaining enough to warrant a 2. Fucking cat. On with the topic. I'd recommend it for a watch. I don't think that it would be something that you would necessarily go out and buy, unless, like I said, you got a large group of friends to show it to, because then, overall value. Fucking cat. Yeah, I noticed. But, hey, it's on Full Moon streaming, so if you want to check it out, you can go there and watch it, and yay! And don't say I didn't warn you.